Welcome to your Daily 5 for Thursday, July 24th, 2025. I came across a news story that reminded me that I don't really remember whether I talked about using the DuckDuckGo browser when I started using it I think I may have been in the beta for that thing, or it might have been when it first publicly released. I honestly don't remember. I've talked a couple of times before about the fact that I haven't used Google search in favor of DuckDuckGo in probably a decade now. I don't even remember. It's been so long. And I've never felt like the experience on DuckDuckGo was in any way inferior to Google. In fact, based on what a lot of people have been saying about Google for the last 5-6 years, I think it's probably a superior experience. But that, of course, is subjective. And so when the browser came out, I started using it. And just to be honest, again, I don't know if I talked about this at all. The first 6 or 7 months on that browser were objectively rough. There were some really strange omissions to the point where I think they probably were just trying to keep the thing stable and figure out what people wanted out of it. But there were odd things missing from a product that at this point, most people should have an understanding of how it works. Like, browsers are not new anymore. So if you're going to launch a browser, you should have an idea of what the foundational features should be. But it has gotten massively better to the point where I think I've been using it kind of in a split with Brave. And I like Brave, but Brave does some odd things too. So I will probably go back to DuckDuckGo as the primary. And one of the reasons that I was reminded about that is because and I saw a pop-up on this, I think in the last update, that they are now allowing users to filter out images that come back in an image search for their tool that have a generative tool that created them. Now, I don't know exactly how they're identifying that. So my suspicion is this is probably not a foolproof system, but the fact that that option is there, I think is really significant because DuckDuckGo is not, as the article I'm going to link to points out, they are not an anti-AI company. They've had an AI assistant for a little while now because I turned it off. I left it on a couple times just to see what it would come up with. And I think I've come to realize that AI summaries are just of very little use to me, like AI in general. It's not that I'm saying that, I hate it, but I just don't find a really good use for it. And honestly, summaries just, if I'm searching for something, I guess I like to dig into the detail of it. Now, my ADHD brain will not allow me to usually finish the article that I start on that detail, but at least I'm seeking it out. So, they're not a company that is taking a stance saying, like Procreate maybe, or as an example, has said no AI in our tools. DuckDuckGo is not like that. They don't have a problem with it, but what they're offering here is, what an idea, choice for the person using the product, a recognition. And this is one thing about many of these companies. I mean, there's really only a few reasons that we've seen such a hype behind AI because honestly, it has not panned out the way these people have promised, at least not for everybody. Again, I'm not saying, I just did a 5 saying that I actually saw finally in actual real world usage a good deployment of it. But the reality is most of these companies are just screaming the letters AI because they're trying to boost their market share or recognition within, the public consciousness because everybody's so fixated on it. But in general, one thing I think most of these companies fail to do when they deploy these tools or advertise them or force them into products in a way that you can't avoid is they do not take into consideration that tools are different for people who are using them. So some people get a lot of value out of these things. I completely acknowledge that for some people, these generative tools have become something that is part of their daily routine that they rely upon. But there are others, for now, myself being one of them, who see almost no utility in them. And it shouldn't be that only one or the other of those two mindsets are served by a product. There should be versatility. There should be the ability for a user to say, yes, I'd like these things. They are useful to me. Or conversely, I don't think I need to see this because it's not of any use to me. I generally don't want images that are AI generated because largely they all look the same and they are inferior to stuff that people make. They just are. But if somebody else wants them, by all means, use it. So I'm just happy that there are some companies that for now recognize that choice and user preference in a product should be the top priority. And then everything under that should serve whatever choice the user makes. So I'm very happy to see that this filter is there. I will be using it. Others don't have to, but I'm just happy to see that a company is, again, recognizing that different users have different needs. Later.